What's up, everybody? It's been a while. Welcome back to Shredthology. So, I know we haven't had an episode for a little while, and the reason being is because, honestly, the first 3 episodes of the series kind of came to me through an inspiration. Like, an idea popped in my head, and I was just inspired to just go and put this episode out there for the world to see. Needless to say, that didn't really happen for a couple weeks, so I didn't really feel like I wanted to force an episode, but I had an idea for an episode, and it was kind of in the back of my head, lingering for a bit. I know I had a story to tell, just didn't really feel like it was quite the right time to tell it. But I'm glad to say that that time's come. On today's episode, we're back. The inspo is here, and it's going to be a good one. So before we get into the show, I want to show you guys something. So I recently got this board. This is a skateboard made by DH Skateboards, and it's pretty freaking sweet. Now, if you know anything about me, you know I like big single kick downhill skateboards. I like to ollie into my runs. I like to free ride. I like to jump off of shit. I like to slide in driveways and do all that craziness. But I also like to go fast and send it sometimes. I've always kind of been in the market for a single kickboard with rocker and micro drops. There wasn't really much out there. I found that the Byron was a little bit too boaty for me and didn't really have the pop that I liked. So I ended up settling on the Comet Ethos. That board had no micro drops, but it was a 40-inch board with rocker, and it was super sick. It's right here. It's kind of a board about the same size. The only difference is the concave. Concave on the Ethos is rocker, radial. Pretty easy to lock your feet into and just kick it out sideways whenever you need to. The concave on the DH Skate Alchemist has some micro drops in the front and the back. Not too gnarly, but enough to make it feel like you're locked in, while also having a sick kicktail and having a real nice width of like 9.75 inches, and it tapers down like the Ethos does. So, I got this board from Dylan. Y'all know we're in a really hard time for boards right now, so I was really having a hard time finding a single kick longboard. But I hit up the homies at Drang, Jordy and Jared, and they put me in touch with Dylan Hepworth, and I asked, yo dog, you got a board for a big tall dude who wants to like pop smallies and freeride and send? And he's like, I think I got you. And boom, DH Skate Alchemist in my hands. Prayers will be answered if you put the energy out there, people. All right, so today we are taking you on a trip back in time to 2014. Kurt's first skate trip. Oh, lordy, lordy, lord. It's going to be a good one. So, 2014, Eager Beaver Kurt had moved from Humboldt County to San Francisco. I was ready to skate. I wanted to get after it. I wanted to be where the hills were. I wanted to be where the shredding was most potent with the sunset sliders. So I moved in with Dead Fred and Julie Baby in the sunset. I was living off of 26th Avenue, a block away from Golden Gate Park, at the bottom of all the best hills in the city to skate. So needless to say, I was going to sessions every Wednesday, skating my brains out after work. Pretty much all I was doing was skateboarding. And I was hungry. So, at one of the slider sessions, I hear of an event. I hear people talking about this thing happening in San Diego called Downhill Disco. It's an event that Muirskate threw. If you don't know about Muirskate, you should. They're one of the best downhill skateboard shops in the world, based out of San Diego, California. So I had heard that the downhill disco was going on and that the sliders were going. So I asked what any normal, sane human being would want to do to go to a skate event. Hey, who's going? Can I get a ride? I talked to Dave, talked to AFB, I talked to Bonzing. They all said that there was a trip happening and the slider ship was going down. However, when it came to me, this newbie who had just popped into the scene and was hungry as fuck to go skateboarding, they were like, yeah, this is kind of like a team only trip. Like, this is a caliber team trip, so you're probably not gonna be able to go on the bus. And at hearing that, I was like, damn, there's gotta be a way. So I kept going. I was like, well, is there anyone going I can get a ride with? And they said, yeah, Michael Carson down in San Jose is probably going. You should hit him up. So, having met Michael like one time, he came to my house, randomly showed up. I was skating all day, and I go into the apartment, and lo and behold, the whole Bonzing team is in there chilling. Dead Fred's grilling some food. He worked at a cafeteria at the time, so he just had like boat tons of food and was cooking for everybody. And me and Michael got talking, and he nonchalantly said, like, yeah, man, hit me up, let's go. So I kept that in my head. Not sure if he did, but I did. So later on, the event's coming up, and I hit up Michael. I'm like, Michael, dog, I want to go to the downhill disco. I hear you're going. Can I get a ride with you? And he said, sure. I'm going to this event called a Laguna Seca downhill race, though, before I go. So maybe we can meet up after that. And I was like, what? A downhill skateboarding race? Let's go. So all I had to worry about was getting myself down to San Jose, and the rest would go swimmingly, so I thought. So made some plans, packed up my skate bag, jumped on the train, and rode down to San Jose. I get there, and me, Michael, Devin Luna, and Skylar Yu ride out to the hills near Santa Cruz to the Sea Otter Classic at Laguna Seca Raceway. Now, the Sea Otter Classic is a kind of a hodgepodge of downhill racing events. There's a car race that's going on, multiple car races, a downhill mountain biking, dirt biking kind of hybrid race going on, and also a downhill skateboarding race. This is like the one time a year where they allow people to skate down Laguna Seca Raceway and have a race. Now, the funny thing about this race was that there were some qualifications you had to meet to race. You had to have leathers, you had to have a board no longer than 30 inches long, and you had to ride traditional kingpin style trucks like Independent, Thunder, Gullwing. So the race is going down. We show up. It's a nice, brisk spring morning. We go to the top of a hill near the raceway, take in the views, and skate down, and we're on our way. Show up at Laguna Seca. We're wandering around trying to find out what's going on. We're walking past these dirt bikers rallying down this hill, jumping shit, racing, and I'm just like, damn, this is sick. How the hell did I end up here? Then we find the hill. Now, the hill where the skateboard race is going on was pretty much just like a mellow incline that wasn't too steep, but it got you going. Probably get going around 35 miles an hour. And then it has a big right kink under a bridge. It keeps going down into a right sweeper that kind of has like that California bank dip thing going on. And then it kept going down to the finish line. So I'm walking around. I got my camera. Oh, something I should add. I had broken my collarbone skating driveways a week before the trip. So Needless to say, I wasn't skating, but I brought my camera. So it was a good opportunity to get some Shredthology hits for the future. And you can see those in the link below. I'll show you the pictures I took. So yeah, me, Devin, and Skylar, we're just lurking, watching. And we all have cameras. We're all just shooting. And Michael's up there racing with the likes of Adrian DeKine, Byron Essert, Max Caps, Jimmy Raya, Tyler Howell, a couple OGs. Kyle Wester was there. And this event was going on thanks to NHS, which is like Santa Cruz, Thunder, Ricta Wheels, Mob Grip. So they were throwing the event. And the racing was going off. I didn't really know anybody, but I was really just vibing. I was like walking around, chatting to people, just like trying to figure out what was going on, what it was like to race. And then I met up with Big Dave. The Sliders had come down to this event, and I was talking to Big Dave, and I was like, yeah, man, this is sick. This is my first downhill skateboarding race. This is rad. And Dave quickly said, yeah, this is not a really good downhill skateboarding race to have as your first one. There's way better races like the Maryhill race and Whistler and all those. But cool, man. See you down at the Downhill Disco. So the race is going off. Byron wins. Kyle Wester gets second. Max Caps gets third. Byron gets a super sick little golden cruiser board for a trophy. And we rally in the car back to San Jose. Sleep at Michael's house. And next morning, wake up bright and early. We're going down to San Diego for the Downhill Disco. Now, before we left, we had to pick up Dave Hiltbrand. Totally in control Dave, as they call him. We're looking for him. Can't find him. We're sitting waiting in this car for about 45 minutes. And finally, out of an alleyway, Dave appears. And he's like, what's up? We're like, damn it, Dave. Get in the car, dude. Let's go. So swoop up Dave. We rally down to San Diego. It's like a 7-hour drive. Driving through the night, all the lights of LA and shit shining, and I'm getting stoked. We're driving through LA, sunset going off, fires in the sky, and I'm just super hyped. Like, I have no idea what's about to happen. I'm hyped. We get into San Diego, and we stop by the Muirskate warehouse, and shit was going off already. We got to see JP Rowan was there. He was making the drop-in ramp for the slalom and border cross race, and it was this heinous, like, probably like 16, 18 feet drop-in ramp that had about 4.5 feet of vert, and it just went like this. Boom. And Max Dubler was trying to drop in on it, and he just slaps. And that's like the first thing I see is just Max Dubler slapping from dropping in. And everyone's losing their shit. And he says, this shit's fucked. This shit is fucking dumb as shit. You should rebuild this thing. And I had no idea what was going on. I was just like there. But yeah, that was just like the pre-night to the Downhill Disco. And got to see Stryker, Scott, a bunch of other homies were there. And they weren't homies at the time. That's my first time meeting them. But it was cool seeing them and just like knowing that, oh shit, something's about to go down, let's go. So we go back to our hotel, and I get there, and Jeff Treadwell of the Sunset Sliders crew, he's there. And me and him have had like a little bit of a weird history at this point. I never met the dude, but we had a little bit of like a beef on Facebook because of some shit I posted about some shit about a sticker in the Sunset Sliders group page, and I got kicked out because of it. It's pretty lame. Charlotte should add me back in. It's about time. But yeah, we talked it over, figured out we weren't pieces of shit, came to realize that internet trash talk is just internet trash talk and should be left on the internet. And then yeah, go to bed, wake up, and we drive out to this random ass parking lot next to a Wendy's and a hotel, and there's a pump access road, like a water pump access road that goes down and then kind of splits off into like a right and a left. And Scott's there with a crew unloading all these jump ramps onto the hill. And I'm just watching, asking if I can help, doing my thing. Time goes by, all the ramps are set out. There's an ABEC 11 ramp, a rain ramp, caliber ramp, a big air ramp, and of course, the gnarly drop-in ramp. It was insane. Things start popping off, noon happens, and there's like 200 people on the hill. They start rallying down the hill, free riding, going off jump ramps. There was like a bare, like DIY wooden jersey barrier thing they made, and people were going up and doing like rock to fakies on that, or wallies and rock and rolls. People were actually getting off. Like, this is, mind you, a longboarding, skateboarding event. And you've got people on longboards doing gnarly tricks on these quarter pipes, these ramps. 360s are going off everywhere. Original had like a skate ramp that went into like a pole jammy, and people were doing gnarly tricks on that. People were doing 360s, Miller flips on the big air ramp. Tyler Howell was doing Miller flips. Chance Gall was doing big ass 360s. You can see all this in the video below. And this is my first experience seeing a event that was like anything organized. And it was ramps, jumps, racing, hella people doing weird shit for swag. It was going off. Now, I gotta talk about the swag challenges because this is kind of bizarre. You've got the Madrid tent, you've got ABEC 11 tent, you got the Otang tent, and they're giving away wheels. But the challenges they're making people doing was kind of fucked up. Like, one of the challenges was like eat dog food for a set of wheels. Another challenge is like lick someone's toes for a set of wheels. Another one was drink someone's piss for a set of wheels. And at that point I was like, all right, that's pretty fucking lame. I'm gonna go this way. So I go back to the hill. All the kooky shit going up there, they can have their fun. I'm fucking doing some whack shit, but hey, the Groms will do anything for a prize, and if you're in desperate need for a laugh, fucking work it. So the slalom event's going down. The sliders are posted up at the bottom. The ABEC 11's posted up in these inflatable green chairs that are floaty and shit. Strikers on the mic under a tent, busting out the happenings for everybody, talking about food and shit. And yeah, the day's just going off. People are doing crazy tricks. It was insane. Bangers after bangers. Brett Shibatini is there doing like big ass airs and ollies and like dork tricks off the bare quarter pipe. Will Stefan is there doing some banger tricks off the mega ramp. Ross Drucky was there doing some sick slides, also launching off the mega ramp. Steven Vera was there busting out lines. I had my camera, and dude's nice enough to just like bust out a sick line for me. Just some nobody skater with a camera, and he's busting it out. So needless to say, I had some shit to edit into a nice little video at the end of the trip. But that's kind of getting ahead. That night, after the shredding was done and all was said and done, mind you, this is a 3-day event, so this is the first night. Or no, it's a 2-day event, this is the first night. So we go back to the Muirskate warehouse, and oh Lord, what a party was happening there. They got this big half pipe, and people are throwing down. Andre Taylor was throwing down on that shit. Michael Carson was throwing down on that shit. Jimmy Rye was throwing down that shit. It was popping off. People were killing it on the ramp. That was back when they had this big quarter pipe to wall ride with like a big shark head, like eating you as you rode up. And it was just so cool to just be like hanging out with all these skaters. We are all of the same ilk, the same kind. We don't really know each other, but we're all hanging out, and it was awesome. People are shredding the ramp. There's a band playing, busting out some funk jams. Downhill disco, gotta have funk. And then there was also a keg. So, you know, good times were had. Night goes on. I'm chatting to Jimmy Raya at one point, and he was talking to me about his favorite feature was the rain ramp, which is like kind of like colored like a disco floor. And we got talking, shooting the shit, and I was like, "Hey man, if you got some wheels, can I snag some?" And he's like, "Yeah, we'll see." So we'll come back to that. But yeah, everyone was there. Marcus Bandy, Liam Morgan, Byron, fucking AFB. This is so sick. Yeah, Michael was shredding the ramp all night, and he's like, "All right, let's go out to the hotel. We got to get ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow's the big shindig, the border cross race." So we go back to the hotel, crash out. Next day, show up at the hill. First thing, I see Jimmy. I go over to Jimmy and I'm like, "Hey, so before I miss you, man, can I like buy some wheels from you?" And he's like, "Yeah, totally. I got some marshmallows." And I was like, "Cool, man. What do you want for the wheels?" And he says, "How much money you got?" I'm like, I got a couple bucks. And he's like, "All right, how about you buy me a cheeseburger from Wendy's and I'll hook you up?" And I'm like, "All right." Like, let's go to Wendy's. So I go to Wendy's, I buy a cheeseburger and some fries for the dude, come back and give it to him. He's like, "Oh yeah, sick. Thanks, dude." And like walks off. And I was like, "All right, dope." And then I keep on going down to the hill. Scott's given the lowdown on the border cross race, and he's basically telling people, "All right, we're gonna have you both start on this gnarly drop-in ramp, and you're gonna drop in and hit all the ramps and battle your way down the hill." And battle they did. It was epic. People were passing each other in the air, launching off of ramps. There was this one moment where William Royce was skating against Michael Carson in a border cross race, and Will goes off the ramp. Michael is next to him, riding off the ramp. Will's in the air, Michael's rolling. They link up and go. Not sure who won that one, but that was a pretty intense moment. I recommend checking it out. There's a video in the link to see that one. Border cross is going off. It's insane to watch. I'm filming the whole thing. You can check out the video of that as well. And finally comes down to the final two. Brian Chubbs Courtright, Texas local, known for his gnarly aggressive racing tactic. And then this kind of skater I've never heard of before, Alex Tsukala, who's riding a arbor board from the Bay Area. He's racing against Chubbs in the finals. It's neck and neck the whole way. It's heated. It's going down. They go off this launch ramp onto the Sector 9 bank. Chubbs ditches his board. Alex is handling it in the air, puts his wheels down. Chubbs, falling backwards, puts his foot out. And Alex eats mad shit running into Chubbs' foot. Now, if you look back at it, Chubbs is putting his foot on his board to grab it with his board so he can like keep it there. So he's trying to keep his board from going far away so that he can grab it and get back in the race. Alex is landing the jump and trying to power through Chubbs' leg, but Chubbs is a big dude. He's pretty stocky. So if you're trying to power through Chubbs' leg, you better be ollieing over it because it's not going to happen. Needless to say, Alex did not ollie, so there was some carnage. Chubbs gets back on his board first, rides on down the finish line, wins the race. 1 point for the Sliders team. Hell yeah. And then racing continues. It's over. What's next? Oh, why not a big air event? So, yeah, big air. Big air was going down. It's hard to describe what exactly was happening. You got longboarders launching off of a ramp onto a roll-in, going about 16 to 20 feet, just battling for the furthest distance. You got people on longboards, people on shortboards, and it was pretty intense to watch. In the end, Ross Drucker won. But during the event, this guy named Jesus Geronimo was flying through the air, just trying it. Didn't even know really like what he was doing, it looked like. But he was just blasting airs and then chucking his board away, just like trying to figure it out 10 feet in the air. Eventually he gets it. And he was in the race for a while, but he didn't end up winning. But it was super sick to see him like learn how to do big air at that event. It was rad. And props to that dude. That is a legendary moment I'm glad I witnessed. Ross Druckery ends up winning. I think Will Stefan got second, or maybe it was Will Royce. Will something. They got second place. And also on this same ramp, I don't know if this is before or after, I kind of got it mixed up. It was 2014, give me a break. They had a best trick comp on the launch ramp. And we're seeing like Miller flips, big ass 360s, shove-its. I think Tom Weiss was trying backflips. And that was my first time seeing that. I don't think he landed it that day, but he did end up landing it at the Cathlamet Corral that same year. Tom Weiss was riding for Original Skateboards at the time, and he was on a tear. That dude, whew, he just had the gnarliest tricks that were just looked so effortless and stylized. Like, that dude was meant to fly through the air on a longboard. I never thought I'd say that, but yeah, Tom Weiss, you killed it, bud. So yeah, I was completely overwhelmed. Didn't skate the whole weekend, took some photos. Actually, I took one run. I skated Skylar's Bustin' Yo Face with some Colt wheels, and I ended up getting a photo taken by Ari Chasmany for Skate Slate. So first ever photo feature in a mag. Downhill Disco, one arm bandit, the broken collarbone. Yeah. So that was the wheelbase Downhill Disco. It was one of the most fun events I've ever been to, and it was my first event. I got to meet a lot of people, understand kind of what skateboarding was all about. It was about being on a hill, pushing yourself, and watching your friends stoke you out with their tricks and just getting down in the most fun way possible, whether that be on ramps, sliding through cones, wiggling through cones, slider style, you know? Just have fun on your skateboard, bonzing. I really hope it comes back. They had it the next year in 2015. Muirskate was killing the game. They were putting in so much energy into all the right places, and just, it was a great time to be alive skateboarding in California. Yeah. Downhill skateboard parks. And how. So yeah, guys, that's my story of my first skate event. Made it happen. Got on a train, went down to San Jose, met up with a homie I'd never met before, and ended up going down to one of the best skate events of my life, and became really good friends with Michael and Skylar after the fact. Met a lot of friends on the way, and yeah, ended up snagging some Sector 9 wheels for a cheeseburger from Jimmy Raya. Thanks, dude. Sick. All right, guys. This has been Shredthology, episode 4. Go out and stoke your community. Put some energy out there. Put some ramps on a hill and see what happens. Invite your friends. Stay safe, y'all. Love ya. Peace.